So I've been looking on the internet for different recording devices. Anyway, I found it. So y'all are just gonna come and get ready with me today. Oh, also, another fun fact about your boy. He's going bald. Going bald. So painful. Not physically, but emotionally and mentally. Because I used to have a full head of hair. I don't anymore. That's fine. So I kind of cheated a little bit. I got up, made my bed. I don't know if y'all can see kind of behind me, my little setup back there. So this is getting ready with me. I don't know. I feel like my body chemistry has been changing and I've been able to kind of regulate my own brain and my own emotions without the use of cannabis. So that's going to be really, really fun, really awesome. Yeah. All right. Now keeps telling me to move like a bit farther away. Okay, there. Fine. Right now, yeah, it's pretty light outside. So we'll go get dressed, even though I only have to put some pants on and that's about it. Pants, socks. So I'm going to... What the heck are you doing, dude? So this is my bearded dragon, Spud. That's Spud. And yeah, he's a little odd, a little weird boy, but that's okay. So I'm gonna get dressed and we'll go for a walk. Right, dude? Hello, tubers. Welcome back. It's your boy Gabe from the Skeleton Crew. And like I said previously, I am going to be touching more on the... I swear to God, I am getting used to this microphone. Every time I have a mic, I end up doing this with my hands, and I don't know what to do with them. So I'm just going to keep going, all right? Don't judge me. Like I said, I'm going to keep going on more of in-depth conversation on the whole trans territory terminology. I don't know that if I came up with that myself or if other trans individuals kind of do that too, like fall into the trans territory, stuff like that. And I also wanted to give more information about myself to y'all, to let y'all know who I am in a nutshell, but not a nutshell, on YouTube. Like I said before, I went and took a DNA test on MyHeritage. They are a company based in Texas, in the States somewhere. So they sent me their little DNA kit things. I did the mouth swab thing and put it in the jar and sent it away. It took them a minute to analyze my DNA profile, see what was in my DNA. I got a breakdown of it and it shocked me more than anything, to say the least. I'm still kind of battling with everything in my brain about it, just because in my last video I talked about feeling like you don't belong, like feeling like something's not right. Not necessarily wrong, but off, you know? And I'm going to dive deeper into that in this video as well. Things just make so much more sense now to me than when I was growing up and it being completely random to me, and nobody else in my family seemed to be the same. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm just weird. I'm that odd duck out, you know? The ugly duckling, as it were, that turns into a beautiful, magnificent swan. Things of that nature when I was growing up definitely make a lot more sense now than they did when I was a kid. Let's get into it. Pull up a seat, grab a beverage, coffee, tea, what have you, and let's dive deep into getting to know me. MyHeritage. The nice people at MyHeritage so kindly broke it down for me on an app. I had to write it down because I'm recording on my phone right now, but that's okay. I did write it down. Here, okay. Before I dive deep into that and let you guys know what my maternal side and my paternal side genealogy are, I might cry just because this is a very kind of emotional, mentally draining topic for me. When I was a kid, I always felt like something was just really off. Not to say that I didn't love my family, not to say that I don't love my siblings. I love them dearly, all to death. I do. There was just always this lingering feeling in the back of my mind that I was different. I was cut from a different biological cloth. Like mentally, yes, I knew I was definitely different. Definitely cut from a different cloth. Like A, I have autism. B, I have like a whole plethora of mental health issues that y'all already know that I talk about all the time. And just different random things about myself that none of my siblings seem to have, none of my family members seem to have, but me. So having processed, digest all of that information that I had received from my heritage, I had to talk to my dad because right now he's the only parental figure that I'm actually talking to. I don't speak with my mother for different reasons other than this. So I asked him, hey dad, mom had always been super wishy-washy about my conception, about my overall existence when I was an infant. And he goes, yeah, I know. And I tell him about what I had done on my heritage, and he's just like, are you sure? I was like, yes, I'm very sure. I'm very sure. Science doesn't really lie. Well, science does not lie. So I told him my results, and he's like, well, that's good, you're still Filipino. And I'm thinking, dude, I just told you that I'm not your kid. And your first go-to is, well, good, he's still Filipino. Mind you, my dad did suffer 3 strokes and a heart attack, so I'm just gonna let him, because I think where he was coming from was he just wanted to have that connection with me still, because he's like, no, you're my kid though. And I'm like, yes, you're my father, obviously. I don't have another dad. Well, biologically I do, but my dad raised me. He's my dad. I don't have another dad who raised me. So I think that's where he was kind of coming from. He just wanted to still have that tangible connection with me, so that makes sense. So I continue on and proceed to tell him what my percentage of my heritage is and what side they came from and whatnot. And he said, so what does this mean? And I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is the test results, and none of them are y'all. So my dad is Filipino and my mother is Native. She's Métis. I grew up thinking that that's what I was. Now, with my siblings, there are some similarities to us. There are some, I can't even say the word because yeah, we kind of look the same, but we don't. I'm the only one that's kind of different. So as far as I know, I'm the only person in my family that has taken this DNA test. To shorten the conversation between my dad and I, it was more so I just kept asking, was there any weird things that happened after my birth? Did you guys notice anything weird? Are you lying to me, Dad? Now is your chance to fess up and talk to me and tell me straight. And he swears down no, as far as I know, you're still my kid. I was like, all right. Now at this point, I kind of figured my dad would do that. My dad would be like, I don't know anything. As far as I understand, you're still my kid and all that stuff. And I kind of figured he would, because my dad's not that kind of a person to divulge information like that, especially sensitive information like that, especially if my mom swore him to secrecy of some kind. I don't know, something, my mom is the kind of person to do that, to kind of manipulate people into secrecy. So let's go get right into what my heritage is, shall we? On my maternal side, I am Latino, Southern American. On the map that I saw, it was everything from Mexican to Chilean to Guatemalan, all the Southern Americas, pretty much. The other percentage of that was European, Northern European more specifically. So that's the maternal side. As far as I know, my mother is not Latin American. She's Native. Now, this answers a lot of questions, actually, because, as far as I understand, in my family, I'm pretty much the only person that can dance. You heard me right. Ever since I was little, I was dancing up a storm. My grandma loved it. As soon as she realized that I could dance, she you know, would take me to Filipino parties and make me dance for her friends. And she would always bring me around like Filipino parties, and everybody would be like, wow, your granddaughter is so beautiful, blah, 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 blah. You should put her in modeling and all this jazz. And yeah, my mom had like a weird instance where she would like have a child star, so she put me in modeling, and I hated it. I mean, like, it was child modeling, no less, which is even worse. But yes, I hated it. Also, I've always had this like weird tie to Mexico, more so like southern Mexico. I'd always had this like weird fascination with Day of the Dead stuff, Spanish culture in general, you know? It's like dawning on me now how easily I picked up Spanish, and how easily I picked up the cha-cha, the salsa, the rumba, like anything, tango, like anything like that. I didn't even have to be taught. I already knew it. I mean, like, yeah, it helped my grandma knew the salsa and stuff like that, so she like helped me hone my skills. Naturally, I would just like hear any kind of Spanish music, and like I would just keep going, you know, like my body would just move as if I was like possessed or something. Also, I have a tattoo of a sugar skull on my chest. Just randomly got that one day after like a really day too. I was living in Vancouver at the time, and I was just like had a really day, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna get a chest tattoo, and it's gonna be a Day of the Dead skull. Now I know why I'm so fascinated with that stuff. Oh yeah, there is Finnish and like Nordic blood in me. There's about 15% of that it is like in the European percent of it. There's more of a breakdown here, but yeah, so partially Viking-ish. And that answers another interesting tidbit about myself that I've always wondered, why I was so like interested in Nordic mythical legends and Viking stuff. Now I understand. Moving on. Moving on to my paternal side, so my father's side. So there is North African, Japanese, Korean, and Filipino. I don't know if y'all know too much about the Philippines and the Filipino people. There are beautiful people, beautiful culture. I love being Filipino. From what I understand, and from the research that I did, like the historical research I did after this, the Philippines was kind of like a melting pot for Southeast Asia, and a whole bunch of Asian people flocked to the Philippines, including the Spanish people. So the mixture of Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Polynesian, African is all in that melting pot in the Philippines. So I didn't know that, which is so cool. So like my Asian side, I'm hella Japanese and Korean, which is so fascinating. Oh my goodness. I'm laughing now, but internally I'm like crying. So yes, they broke down the Filipino side of me, and it's mainly Japanese and Korean, which is so strange, but makes a lot of sense at the same time. So your boy is half Latin American and half Asian. That's what you get, me, mixture. Now, after finding all of this out, unfortunately, I did cry. I did get angry. I got frustrated. I got upset. I didn't even want to acknowledge it, to be quite honest with you. I didn't want to even think about the fact that I did this, because no matter which way I look at it now, it's like I opened up a can of worms. And once you open up a can of worms, you can't get those worms back in that can. They're all wiggling around and everything's like spilling out of the can, and worms are all over the floor. It's just some big mess. And I don't know, I wasn't ready to talk about it. I know that much for sure. I wasn't ready to even acknowledge that I was different. I didn't even want to acknowledge the fact that I could have been switched at birth, the fact that I could have been kidnapped. I don't even know. I hope it's not kidnapped, because that would be even more traumatic than now. It's still difficult for me to say out loud. It makes so much more sense now. You know, it makes a lot more sense. It answers all of the questions that I've always had in the back of my mind since I was a kid. Now, it's just a matter of finding my real parents. Not in a sense that my parents who raised me weren't my real parents, but biologically speaking, I guess that's kind of just like what's next, if that's what I want to do, if I want to find my real parents. You know, I don't even know where I'd start. I have no idea. And the worst part of it all is the person that would probably know more is the person that I don't want to talk to. Even if I did talk to her, I would have the hardest time believing anything she said to me. As it sits right now, anything that my mother says to me, I just think it's an outright lie. I don't believe anything she says to me anymore. It was hard to believe anything she told me when I was growing up. I just had like this weird feeling that she was always lying to me. Now I know she was. So this is probably just gonna be a journey on my own, to be quite honest with you. It's gonna be a journey where I have to get uncomfortable. I have to have those uncomfortable conversations with my siblings and my parents. So yeah, now you know why I didn't really want to dive too much into my whole heritage and my finding out that I'm not actually related to my family. That sucked, but it's also kind of like a blessing too, because it helps me find out more about who I am, you know? So I'm gonna take a break here, y'all. My heart and my mind are you know, kind of just like melting into each other right now because of what I've talked about. But I did want to talk about it because I know when I talk about it, I feel a lot better about it.